You only get to do this once. The stag do, the bachelor party, the last hurrah, whatever you call it. Choose your champions, print shirts with your embarrassing face on, and go with the whole gang for a civilised drink or two.
This is madness.
But it's a one-time deal. Your vows are for life, and for those who remarry, what second stag do can live up to the first? It will be you and the other dads at the pub on a Sunday, and half of them will go home early. No thanks. You get one chance with one group in one place. And for me, there was only one place it could be.
Time for New Orleans.
Like all the best adventures, ours begins at 5:30 a.m. in an out-of-focus car. We're heading for the airport, where most of the gang is assembled, smart as you like in their uniforms.
Show us the front of the shirt, Will.
This is Will. You may recognise him from the Paris video, which, if you haven't seen it already, you'll want to check out. He's one of 8 making the trip to New Orleans, 6 of whom are flying out from London, including this beautiful chap right here. I'll introduce you to the others as we go along, but for now, let's reverse explosion out of here.
Many cheers.
We toast the start of our voyage with a ludicrously overpriced pint. We've got more than 14 hours of travel between us and the Big Easy, flying from London to Dallas.
We are at Dallas.
And then from Dallas to New Orleans.
We are in New Orleans.
When we land, it's already past 1 a.m. back home. And by the time we've sorted out baggage and caught a ride into the French Quarter, it's later still. But one of our party is down from Canada and awaiting our arrival. As is only polite, we plan to say hello.
So we've checked in here at Place d'Armes, and it's 3 a.m. back home. So we are going to, of course, go out for a hurricane at Pat O'Brien. A sensible hurricane. Travelled a long way and we need some rejuvenation.
Yeah, and Mark's already there.
And Mark's already at Pat O'Brien, so we've
It's
got to
your
say
Mark's
hello. It's Mark's fault. He's a paragon of irresponsibility.
Pat O'Brien's is a New Orleans mainstay. It started as an illegal speakeasy during Prohibition, before the bar officially opened in 1933. It's famed for the Hurricane, a cocktail designed in the 40s to use up surplus rum, and as the name suggests, it's damn powerful.
There it is, the Pat O'Brien's Hurricane, as symbolised by that thing on the wall. And the gang is here. Cheers.
We enjoy our one sensible drink so much that we stay for another, and before long...
There are 3 of us left. This is madness.
First 3 on Bourbon Street.
You've met myself and Will, but who is this third man? Meet Hugh. He was with us the first time we came to New Orleans when we discovered Tickler's Dueling Piano Bar, where we're headed now. It's a favourite drinking spot of ours and the concept is simple enough. If you've got the dollars to tip, you pick the tune. Singing along is optional. It's way past my bedtime. Time to call it a night.
So of course our room is inside and windowless, so it might seem like it's the dead of night, but it is a beautiful new morning. We've had some breakfast, some croissants. Now we're going to meet up downstairs. I think we're going to go to the Audubon Aquarium of the Americas.
Located on the banks of the mighty Mississippi, the aquarium offers us a chilled out way to start our trip. As the name suggests, it's a showcase of the aquatic life of the Americas. There are piranhas and penguins. There are playful otters and mighty sharks.
Look at this guy. What a unit.
And there's even a chance to get up close and personal with a stingray. The visit concludes with a short film about the Louisiana wetlands, which are fast disappearing, leaving this 300-year-old city even more vulnerable to future hurricanes. Aquariums can teach you a lot about marine life, but they can't teach you what it tastes like. We head for Bourbon Street, and at the Cornet, I can't resist some fried alligator and a shrimp po' boy, washed down with something called a huge arse beer. Cheers. As with all exotic meats, the alligator tastes like chicken. And the po' boy tastes like shrimp, which for a sandwich filled with shrimp is perhaps not surprising. Other delights around the table include chicken and sausage jambalaya, buffalo chicken sandwich, and of course a lot more po' boys. We head back to the bars for a few more drinks, and at this table, things get a bit weird. Let me explain. Back home at about this time, it was all getting a tad shouty in the place where the laws are made.
People of this country have had enough.
Being total nerds, we're soon deciding who gets the next round with a parliamentary system, which mostly consists of Will shouting, "Order! Order! Order!" Before long, Parliament is agreed. We're going to visit one of the oldest bars in America.
There it is, Lafitte's blacksmith shop, reputed to be the oldest bar in these United States.
By this time, the lingering jet lag has whittled our number down to 4. The final 3 from last night, plus this man. Down from the Great White North, it's Mark. He's British like the rest of us, but he's been living in Vancouver for the better part of a decade. So naturally, he's a dab hand at cutting down trees, fighting off bears, and herding moose. Invaluable skills in New Orleans. We soon find our way to Fritzl's, a European jazz club with a distinctly American-sounding band. Our adventures start early tomorrow, so we grab some fried chicken and prepare to call it a night. But first, a lesson. What we call biscuits are known as cookies in America. So what does a biscuit mean to them?
This is a biscuit. It means twice good. Sort of muffiny. Scone-like. Yeah, it's like a scone, like a soft scone. Where are we going, Chris?
Going on a swamp boat.
You're damned right we're going on a swamp boat, and we're hoping to see some alligators. Joining us from the wilds of Cumbria is Chris. They don't have alligators where he lives, and I suspect he's the reason why. Legend has it that they're reduced to quivering handbags by the very sight of his mighty beard. Down at Decatur Street, we board a bus bound for the Louisiana wetlands.
Hello!
We cross Old Man Mississippi, headed for Jean Lafitte, a community named for a French pirate, better known as Jean Lafitte to the locals. It's a place so prone to flooding that most of the houses are actually built off the ground. Pretty soon we're at our destination, Airboat Adventures, home to an albino alligator and some of the fastest fan boats in the state.
This is our boat over here. Here we go.
The The area around the dock is subject to speed restrictions, so the ride starts out pretty slow, cruising past a creepy cemetery on the way out to Lake Salvador. Then, once we're at a safe distance, the fanboat roars into life. Going deeper into the swamps, we meet our first wildlife. But it's not the gators, at least not yet.
This is Mama right here.
By all accounts, raccoons are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to swamp life.
A lot of nutrients, otters, coons, possums, rabbits, armadillos, coyotes, wild hogs. A lot of white-tailed deer roam around out here. The only thing we don't have is bears or skunks.
But now it's time for the main event. Gators.
Come on, Gator. Easy. Gotta get on the boat. Crazy son of a bitch. Yeah, they'll climb up in the feet with you. Be careful. Easy, big boy. They can jump about 3/4 of their body length.
Alligators are angry because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Our tour guide is totally at ease with these massive beasts. If anything, he's a little too comfortable with them. Spoiler alert, this is the only guy getting a snog on this trip. With so many gators so close, it shouldn't come as a surprise to find one actually on the boat.
Like this could do a little damage. Wouldn't take your finger off, but it'd tear it up pretty good. They got about 80 little razor sharp teeth in there. Open, open. Look at those little teeth, like little razor blades. Yeah. See the eyeballs bulging out. Loosen up a little bit. Don't choke the gator.
Don't choke the gator.
If you're wondering who this gator choking renegade is, let me introduce Matt. As a rowing fan, he's more accustomed to arguing with swans than reptiles, but he's happy to mix it up with any amphibious life forms who think they're tough enough. And if that doesn't put you off him, some say he actually enjoys exercise. Gross.
One of the world's oldest predators, right?
Yep, little baby dinosaurs.
Perfect killing machines.
So what do they eat when they're this size?
Same thing, fish, frogs, insects. They eat pretty much anything.
We can see New Orleans in the distance. It's time to head back. We've had a while to build up an appetite, so we drop into Oceana Grill.
So we are back in New Orleans, and it is time to go and get some gruff.
The place feels familiar, but I was in New Orleans a year earlier, so maybe that's why? Wrong. I later discover it's actually because of this guy, Gordon Ramsay. Oceana featured on his TV show, Kitchen Nightmares, in 2011, and they so enjoyed the experience that they sued over it, twice. The second lawsuit, from 2018, alleged that during the episode's filming, defendants went to great lengths to over-dramatise and even fabricate problems with the restaurant in order to increase ratings. I can't find any updates about the case, but I can tell you we have no problems. I have a mix of fried and blackened alligator to start, washed down with a margarita. It's quite tasty. My main course is a seafood po' boy. Others opt for blackened chicken, blackened bayou duck, and redfish with shrimp. Is it the best thing we'll eat in New Orleans? Not by a long shot, but it's alright. Not bad. After a brief parliamentary recess, we assemble for the evening's activities.
We're doing a pub quiz, bringing Quizzly Bear to New Orleans.
We're going to do a public quiz. Hello, I'm Ben. We've met before.
I don't actually know who he is. Who are you?
He literally just said, "This is Ben. He's flown over 8,000 miles from Abu Dhabi to be here. And since he's used to the searing temperatures of the Middle East, he actually finds the sweltering heat of New Orleans to be pleasantly cooling. His pub quiz credentials, however, are sadly unproven."
So we're going across to the Crown and Anchor, just across the Mississippi, and we will be taking the ferry together.
That's what you think, but what if there's a big train in the way?
Unexpected roadblock here, and we actually legitimately don't know where it ends.
Several minutes later, and with us perilously close to missing our boat, the train clears the crossing and we're off. The boat departs, and then, with the New Orleans skyline laid out before us, Will can't help but feel romantic. Across the Mississippi is Algiers Point, where a British-themed pub awaits with a Doctor Who-style police box entrance. After we've grabbed a drink, the pub quiz begins with a Dead or Alive round. These are the faces of men who have no idea what the answer is. Needless to say, we do England proud, coming dead last in literally every round. But hearing of my upcoming nuptials, the landlord is kind enough to send me a consolation prize.
I have been gifted a wedding cake shot, which is some sort of bizarre vodka with an icing on a lemon.
After the longest game of darts in history, we catch a ride back across the river. Then, with one more nightcap before bed, we turn in for the evening.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Got the breakfast of champions here. Cajun pizza, alligator sausage.
What a way to start the day. Now, we're heading to Canal Street, where we'll be catching a tram up to City Park. It's a huge place, covering a sprawling 1,300 acres, making it 50% bigger than Central Park in New York City. And it's not short of history either. The park was a popular dueling spot in the 1800s. Their honour-wounded Southern gents would go there to have it out with whoever had offended them. And yes, some people died doing so. It also hosted a Beatles concert, so that's neat. And interestingly enough, it used to have a big statue of the Confederate General Beauregard, but the city council voted to remove it in 2015, and 17 months later, it was gone. We're here to see some public art of a slightly more modern variety though, in the park's awesome sculpture garden.
So weird. That is some freaky fucking stuff right there. And there it is, the mighty Mississippi.
Having gorged our brains on culture, it's time to gorge our guts on barbecue.
beer is this like?
Juicifer IPA.
I'm in barbecue ecstasy.
That was so good. Meat, absolutely perfectly tender. Coleslaw as well, fantastic. Definite recommendation.
I'm serious. This place clocks in at number 3 on my list of must-eat places in New Orleans. High praise in such a good city for grub. I'll reveal first and second place in due course. We grab a tram back to the French Quarter. It's time to visit my favourite place in the city. New Orleans is the birthplace of jazz, but when the Jaffes, a newlywed couple from Philadelphia, visited in 1961, they struggled to find a place where they could listen to true Dixieland jazz. It was the age of rock and roll and bebop, but on St. Peter's Street they found an art gallery where jazz musicians were allowed to practice. With time, more people went there for the jazz than the art. And when the Jaffes moved to New Orleans, the gallery's owner trusted them to run the place as a venue where old-style jazz could be practiced and appreciated. That gallery is Preservation Hall and still hosts several concerts daily, with tickets a bargain at $20. We grab a hurricane from Pat O'Brien's next door and join the queue.
Only be Preservation Hall. Here they are, gentlemen.
You can't film the concerts, but take my word for it, they're worth every cent and more.
Preservation Hall was magnificent. Ben agrees. Look at his stern face. He's furiously good.
Extremely furiously.
Now we're going to go to Jean Lafitte's blacksmith shop again and have a couple of drinks.
We're at the halfway point of our trip, but somehow it hasn't yet happened that all 8 of us have been out on the town together. Sure, we've raised a few glasses, but so far this has all been far too civilised. Well, there's a little place right down Bourbon Street called Tropical Isle, and it sells a little drink that's going to kick this night up a gear.
One of these. Pineapple is the thing I'm getting out of this.
There's no pineapple in it.
Pineapple?
There must be pineapple in it.
So it's white rum, I think it might be vodka, melon liqueur, lime.
Melon.
Mystery solved. This calls for one last explosion. Meet the final stag, Dean. We met as teenagers when he played bass in my band, and he might have thought that his days of enduring my terrible singing were behind him, but as he's about to find out, they're not. Before we start the singing, Will's going to drop off our souvenir cocktail glasses at the hotel. One man carrying 8 empties ought to give the receptionist a laugh. We head back to Tickler's Piano Bar, where the party is in full swing.
And in the streets, all the children screamed. Mother cried in the poetry. I don't remember spoken. The church was all broken. The day, the music died. You guys ready? Sing your ass off. And we were singing.
The piano guys are good sports, and even if they don't know the song you're requesting, they'll give it a go. Believe it or not, this is Knowing Me, Knowing You by ABBA.
The story ends. This is goodbye. Knowing me, knowing you. Nothing we can do. Knowing me, knowing you.
They also have a crack at the English football classic, 3 Lions on a Shirt.
3 lines on a shirt. You've got me there. 30 years of dirt. Never stop dreaming. So many jokes. So
It's a bit weird, but thankfully someone volunteers to get it back on track.
Hey, I know
Let's take it to
Beginning of the chorus, yeah?
3 lines on a shirt.
Mercifully, the recording ends there. The party continues late into the night, but after here, the footage stops. I don't make a note of what time we get back, but suffice to say, we won't be up early tomorrow. On the next episode.
Over 6 million on the scale.
Sure, so the heat will build for the first 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh God.
No.
That was truly one of the most remarkable eating experiences of my life. Today we are going on that thing.
This has 8 different spices. It has cinnamon, cloves, nutmeg.
Na zdrowie, Mongo. Zdrowie.
Off to a ghost tour now. Ben, are you terrified for your life? Spooky.
And you got us feeling alright.
Thanks for tuning in. This one has been a monster to edit, so do me a favour, subscribe, hit that like button and drop me a comment. Doing so will give me the sort of heady buzz you can normally only get from a Pat O'Brien's Hurricane, and at a fraction of the cost. See you in the next one.